Yes, guys, how you doing? Welcome back to Football Inc. Jonny and I are hoping you are all happy and healthy, doing the things you love with those you love to do them with. It is Wednesday. It is the 3rd of September. Apologies for the no-show the last couple of days. Johnny's been on location, but that's not the reason. It's me. I've been absolutely bedridden with the first game of the season, or second home game of the season bug, and the stadium took it out of me. So I'm currently in all sorts of bother, struggling to keep it together, but we're going to carry on anyway. Johnny, how are you, my man?
I'm okay. Just to make you feel better for those in the UK, it's pretty crappy out here in Corfu at the moment. I don't want you to have any empathy for me whatsoever. I'm having a lovely time away from it. It's good to just switch off. But I can't. You and I can't switch off from football, Sean. That's why we launched this channel, right? It's like being down at the pub and having a chat with your mates, how it used to be, about chatting anything and everything that goes on in football, and that's what we're here to do. And guys, hello to everyone in the chat, to Graham, to Joe, to Gary, to Harley, John, and everybody else that's joining us. Robin, Nikos, good to see all you guys this morning. We
got to ask a couple of favours before we get into the show. I forgot to mention it. Please do, of course, as you always do, smash the like button for us if you enjoy the content. Hit the subscribe if you haven't already. Hit the notification bell and drop a comment. If you are watching this and you're not subscribed and you want to participate in the chat, what you've got to do is rub the sub button just below the screen here, and then you'll get free and instant access. Doesn't cost you a penny, helps the channel out, and it helps you understand when and where you can find us every single day, or we try to go every single day. And secondly, or lastly, if you are interested in the podcast format of these type of shows, then you can listen to us on Apple Pods, and you can watch the show back like you are now on Spotify. And all we ask is if you are interested in that sort of format of content, then please find us over there. Links are in the description, or search Football Inc. And you can also just please do smash the 5-star review and follow us. That'd be really great. Last thing before I hand over to Johnny for the first story of the day, sponsors of today's show are, of course, the wonderful people over at okjersey.com, where you can find any of your types of football shirts. On this channel, we celebrate all teams around Europe. We've got about 600 teams that we follow every single week with various stories. If you're not new around here, then you'll be familiar with those guys. But you can buy those jerseys over at okjersey.com. £15 a pop, basically, give or take, with all your different names, numbers, and your badges and all that stuff. For an 8% discount, use code FINC at checkout. The QR code is on the top left. If you scan that, takes you to Football Inc. Takes you to OK Jersey. Go and do your shopping there. For Christmas is just around the corner. And use the code FINC for an 8% discount on what is already an unbelievable price. And we'll be doing some more giveaways. By the way, I have got the email from, just to quickly cover some information of, Ryan Showell, Uphill Gardner, and Parker were the 3 winners of the first giveaway last Friday. Ryan Showell has reached out to me. I'm taking care of that one, but I haven't heard yet from Uphill Gardner. Oh, that sounds so weird. Or Parker. If those 2 guys are still waiting for your shirts, I'm still waiting to get some information on your size, your address, your email, all that stuff. Reach out to me, show me how you are, or I can verify that you are that person, and we will get those shirts sorted very, very quickly for you. So OK Jersey is where you can get that done. Johnny, where do you want to start today, my man?
I think we start at something that's been really bugging me. I think it's been a topic of conversation. The behaviour, the player power of Alexander Isak and Vissa, not caring about the fans. I mean, let's start with Alexander Isak. Alexander Isak, idolised by the fans. His behaviour, refusing to play, just demanding the move. The same with Vissa, removing all remnants of his time at Brentford. And those 2 being rewarded. And then we look at the flip side of that with Mark Gahey at Crystal Palace, behaving like a true gentleman, never once speaking out, being silent, taking it right down to the wire, playing in all the games as he was supposed to, not kicking up any fuss. And then at the midnight hour, pulls away his dream move. Now you have a player that is pissed off, and now you've got a player that probably won't be given his all, and will demand probably that he'll go on a free, probably in the summer, so they'll get nothing. But is this a trend? Is this a trend? I feel for Mark Gahey, because is this not the behaviour of a captain and how a player should behave when you're employed by a club? And he should be the one rewarded, and those that behave like Alexander Isak and Visser should not be rewarded. But it seems the opposite is true. What are your thoughts?
Yeah, I don't think it's a new thing, is it? I think we've seen loads of this over the years, of sort of situations on both sides, right? Where you have clubs that kind of that don't respect the players' desires to leave if they're really unhappy. But you certainly see more of the player power side being represented. But I think it's been fairly quiet in that regard for a little while. We haven't seen too much of that. I can't really remember too much in the sort of 23-24 season summer, or the 24-25 season summer, where big transfers were so determined, or the outcomes of big transfers were so predicated by the over excessive use of power from either, or leverage from either the club or from the player. But certainly this summer, it's been a massive resurgence of it. And it's not just those three examples, by the way. Gyökeres did exactly the same thing to engineer his move. There's been, if you give me sort of a couple of minutes, I can probably think about 10 others. But it's certainly a newish, or like a resurging trend, Jonny, and it doesn't taste very nice. And I think that you're going to see now suddenly the outcome of that, especially when you see the other side and you see the fact that he's almost embarrassed, right? He's had people mocking him on Twitter, on social media, taking like he's almost like his exit video or whatever it was, and spinning it into something that it wasn't. So like, I just think that players are going to sit there now and think, look, if someone wants to come for me, I'm going to put my feet up. I'm going to kick the cat, kick back and just do everything that act like a spoilt brat, because the squeaky wheel gets the oil, versus like the good boy, good things come to those who wait. Not really. So I'm pretty. It leaves a bad taste in my mouth, mate. It hasn't happened to a Tottenham player, so I'm like kind of a little bit separate from him for just looking in at the zeitgeist. I just think it's pretty disgusting. Yeah.
I mean, if you think back, actually, from a Tottenham perspective, there was all the noise last year and the hate for Cuti Romero. He wants to leave. He should just go. He's obviously wanting to leave the club, right? But he didn't. He didn't go on strike. He didn't start kicking up a fuss, refusing to play, and demanding a move like these guys did. I think the funniest one of all of these, funny enough, is probably Emi Martinez, who had that tearful wave goodbye to all the Aston Villa fans as he was waving
at the end of last season.
The end of this was it the end of last season, or
the end of last season? At the end of last season, on the final day in May, he was saying goodbye to everyone. He spent the whole summer expecting a move that never materialised, and it never even looked close to materialising, mate. We all thought, you and I thought it was going to happen the entire summer, and it didn't, did it?
No, that was one of the ones. So I mean, you've got that guy who behaved properly. He said he loved the club, but it was time to move on. That tearful wave goodbye. Another one who didn't, kick up a fuss and go mad. And yet here he is. And I believe now he's signed a new contract. So Aston Villa fan has told us, to 2029, which is quite ironic. How he comes back now after all those tears.
He's still loved there, isn't he? I don't think he ever. There was nothing other than just an expected goodbye, but he was always, respectful with it. I mean, you look at players like on different levels, like Jadon Sancho. Was it Sancho that was wearing the Villa shirt? Who was it that was wearing the Villa? It was Sancho, wasn't it? It was wearing the Villa shirt in May or June in Ibiza or something. He ended up moving in that direction, which is quite interesting. But there's just been a hell of a lot. This summer's been sort of riddled with. I don't know what the right word is. I'm trying to think because my brain's fuzzy because I'm a little bit under the weather. But I feel like it's been riddled with very underhand tactics orchestrated by either agents or by players that just feel like the contracts are irrelevant And let's not forget that when agents sign contracts on behalf of players or negotiate contracts, they are rewarded for the longevity of those contracts, right? If you're only going to get a 2 or 3 year contract for a younger player, you're not going to get those signing fees. You're not going to get those extra bonuses that are kickers in the contract unless you commit to the club for 6 years. And yet, so the agents are leading into those things in the negotiations at the top end of the contract signing, but then only halfway through the contract they just say, "No, I'm done. I'm not playing for you ever again. Let me go." But they've been a beneficiary of all of the additional compensation that comes from signing those contracts in the first place, Johnny. So it's like it's a really dirty game at the moment. It feels like, and it's only and look at the way it ended, mate. The takeaway is that's the way you get what you want.
Well, this is it. Is it going to set a trend now? Where your players start doing this all over the place. The interesting one here is that I said right from the very off of this show 3 months ago that as much money as Liverpool spend, if they don't end up buying Mark Gahey, they could suffer, because they do not have enough centre-backs. Now, it could be that Crystal Palace and the power of Oliver Glasner, because let's be honest, it was Glasner power that stopped the Mark Gahey. Everyone blames Steve Parish, but it was in fact Oliver Glasner says, if you sell him, I'm resigning. And that's was
an
his
interesting take. Okay, yeah. So what's the relationship between Glasner and Gahey like then now?
Right. So I'm leaving. You need me. I can get a job anywhere. Right. You selling this guy. You're going to sell my captain with no replacement. No chance, mate. Okay, I'll leave. So he wins that power. But ultimately, I think Liverpool are the big losers here. Arsenal are the big gainers because they have enough defensive cover for about 5 injuries at the back. Liverpool are so limited now with Virgil van Dijk. Gomez is always injured. Konate, who's having a brain fart. And the young kid, Leone, who's a great talent, but he's going to be thrown in. But here's the scenario now. What is going to happen now?
Too early for Leone, by the way. Too early.
Yeah, but hang on a second. In January, there's a club called Real Madrid that could easily come calling for Mark Gahey because he can sign pre-contract in January.
Yeah, and 100%.
Liverpool might well lose out on that altogether.
But by next summer there'll be other players that will be available. I hear what you're saying. I hear what you're saying, though. It's a massive deal.
No,
it is a sneaky one.
He's not
Johnny, quickly though. Can we just quickly dwell on that relationship between Gahey and Glasner for a second? Because I hadn't really thought about it until now. I think it's an interesting chat. So Glasner would have said to Parish, if you sell Gahey, I'm leaving now. I quit now.
Yeah.
So Parish was okay with the idea of selling Gahey for 35-40 million.
Correct.
Gahey says, wait, what? Glasner says, I need you, bro. Look, let's both leave at the end of the summer. So is Gahey connected to, just quickly, a little bit of an anecdote, right? So when I worked in America, I had a boss. I was in charge of the entire east coast of the thing I was involved in, so the entire east and basically most of the central side of North America. My boss was in charge of the same division, and then the boss above him reached out to me and said, I need someone to do the west side as well. Can you do both? And my direct boss said to me, no, please don't do that. I need you here. If you go over there, you're going to be diluted. Please don't do that. So I stayed loyal to him and said, okay, fair enough, I won't. 2 months later, having the other side hired somebody else, right? My boss then quit to move to be in charge of the whole thing and with the other side anyway. So he pulled the ladder up on me, but begged me to stay. And I feel like that it's not a dissimilar thing here and I never felt the same about my boss again after that. I was always like, you absolute dirty little shit. So do you think that Gahey is
yeah, I mean,
pissed off with Glasner, or do you think he's okay with it because he's like, we'll go for free next year?
No, I think he's probably pissed off with Glasner and he's pissed off with Steve Parish. Look, he's been loyal, right? He's been a fantastic captain, and that's the thing that for Liverpool, they see Mark Gahey as successor to Virgil van Dijk. He is a mental monster, right? I know people in football, as you know, and they always talk about him being a mental monster. He's a leader. He's a winner. And strong-willed, and I think it's a massive blow for Liverpool, and I think it's I think that Liverpool could ultimately end up losing out, because I do honestly feel that Real Madrid will see an opportunity here, just how Spurs saw opportunities when other deals failed to get Simmons and Muani, that Real Madrid will be saying, hang on a minute, we could get a guy who could be leading Real Madrid's defence. And he's more than capable. I'm telling you, he's a top defender. Doesn't get the credit that he deserves. And I think he'll be definitely 100% if he's fit. He'll be in England's centre-back role for the World Cup.
So you think he doesn't get the credit he deserves? I think he gets too much credit. I think people think of him as a world-class defender or close to.
I think he's very, very good mentally.
Yeah, I think he's a very good player. But you think that people think less of him than's fair. I think people think more of him than's fair. But we both agree he's a very good player. It's just, I guess, the opinion on what other people think of him. But listen, it's interesting though, Jonny, because if you're Gahey now and you've got Glasner, I mean, Glasner's 100% leaving, isn't he? Let's just extend the conversation here. Glasner ain't staying after this year, right? He's out at the end of this year, isn't he? Or at some point in this season.
I would think so. I mean, look, the funny thing is that the demotion to the Conference League might be a blessing in disguise, that Crystal Palace could actually have 2 years in Europe, because I believe that they're more than capable of winning this competition. More than capable of winning the conference, and therefore that will put them in the Europa League. But for Liverpool, I've said this before. I've said it for 3 months. I think that Liverpool are extremely vulnerable, and they could pay the ultimate price between now and January in the Champions League and in the Premier League by not having a strong enough defence. If they're having to play, if any injuries, and they're having to play Endo and Robertson at centre back. With any of those, and it looked like Canate.
They're already playing a midfielder at right back, aren't they, at the moment?
Yeah, exactly. So, because Frimpong's injured as well. So the difference is Arsenal have lots of injuries, but they have incredible depth in defensive issues. Spurs have shocking depth. Any injury to Mickey van der Ven, and we're playing Ben Davies. So, listen, look, it's
fascinating development in that particular story. And just to sort of round off the topic, Jonny, player power generally is taken at the pendulum has swung very violently towards rewarding bad behaviour, and that can't be a good thing.
It's not good for football. It's not. Look, there are many things right now that aren't good in football. Multi-club ownership, the skullduggery, the ridiculous trades that are being done, negotiating with yourself, and the thing that's going on in broad daylight. Corruption in broad daylight, manipulating the rules in broad daylight. We can all see it. We all know it. Clubs getting an advantage, but no one's doing anything about it. No one's doing anything about a lot of things in football right now. And to be honest with you, I hope it's not a slippery slope, because we all love the game, but there's so many things wrong. VAR, the VAR. We're 3 seasons in, and they still can't get their house in order. FFP, PSR, multi-club ownership, the way players are behaving. There are so many things now. We talk about, again, we'll talk about this. Barcelona and getting permission to go and play a game in America. Is this the start of another slippery slope of world football? There are so many things going on right now that are wrong, and the government bodies aren't fit for purpose right now. They're watchers, they're observers, but they don't do anything about it. If it serves their purpose and they're rewarded for it, they turn a blind eye to it.
Yeah, it's the most corrupt game in the most corrupt sport in the world, and where there's money, there's muck, Jonny. So it will continue, mate.
Where there's muck, there's brass. Isn't that the same?
Story of my Friday night or Saturday night. Let's talk a little bit about the actual the actual transfer market, how it finished, mate. Here's a stat window
for you. Here's a stat for you. Sunderland spent more money in the transfer window than Paris Saint-Germain. I mean, that's how the Premier League is going right now. I mean, mad stuff. Here we go.
So we got the Premier League net spend up here right now. In terms of net spend, so Arsenal obviously spent the most, only recouped a little bit from their big outlay. Liverpool second. Interesting, that isn't it? But Liverpool spent 426 million, but got 200 million pound in and improved their squad. The only mistake they've made there, mate, was selling Kwanzaa, right?
Massive mistake. Selling him way too early.
Everybody else they've sold, they've improved on. Everybody else they have sold, they've replaced and improved upon. In my opinion, I think Frimpong's probably a better all round. And look how bad Trent's been since he's got to Real Madrid. He's already hated at Real Madrid, by the way. The Real Madrid fans are unforgiving, mate, aren't they? With their white gloves or white flag, whatever it is that they do. They're relentless in their expectations of excellence from day one. There's zero time to acclimate allowed. Anyway, Man United came third, and yet have only got 1 point from. Was it 1 point from 9, or 2 points from 9?
I think it's 2 points from 9. I just trying to work out now how many points. I'm just trying to find while you're talking there. I'm just trying to find the actual deals of how many players who bought what.
Oh, I've got that on here. I'll do it this way. Here you go. I'll bring this up instead then. Here you go.
Because I had a list.
Yeah,
of all the.
I've got it here. Let's bring this up. 1 second.
They had a trophy parade. I saw them. We beat Burnley. I saw there was a trophy parade for Man United. Yeah, Sunderland had a fantastic window. Sunderland had
on the screen yet? Is it on the screen?
I'm
going to merge this into. Let me get rid of that. I'm going to merge this into one thing. 1 second. Sorry, I'm a little bit all over the place here. There you go. Can you see that? Not on the screen properly.
Yeah.
Let's zoom in a little bit. Here we go. So that's the amount of players that have joined and their grade, according to Transfer Market, the grade of the two. What I'm going to do, though, I'm just going to grab both of those quickly and put them into one screenshot so that I can talk me through it, mate. What's your thoughts? Just give me 1 second. I'm just going to make this into one big giant screen share thing.
See that? Have a look at that. It's another lesson learned from the 25 window that spending power of the Premier League is now so huge that picking off players is much more difficult for clubs. Yeah, I mean, there's some. I mean, you look at Bournemouth, for example. How Iriola has managed to sell over £200 million worth. In fact, if you look at the 2 seasons, they've sold £265 million worth of players and bought in very little. And still managing to currently get some really good results. That's a top manager knowing what he did. For me, I thought Everton had an absolutely superb window. We've spoken about it. We've lost it now. Sean, where are you?
I'm bringing this up instead. There you go. Okay. So we've got the things side by side here. Okay, so we got Arsenal. We got all the Premier League net spend in that particular order, and on the right hand side we've got the detail of the official new arrivals, and then what Transfer Market is giving the grade. So for those Tottenham fans that are watching, and there's 400 people here, guys, we're slowly growing. We know we're doing the early show today, and we know it's International Week, so it's amazing to see 400 people still here looking for the chat when it's such a dry period of content. But Tottenham Hotspur, apparently, Johnny, have been ranked 4th according to Transfer Market, and Jeff Stelling, one of my favourite all time, and I don't have a lot of favourite football kind of journalists or presenters, if you like, but Jeff Stelling on TalkSport, his take was that Tottenham were number 1 on the list in the Premier League. What's your thoughts on that?
I've got to tell you, so I actually had the privilege of being invited down to Soccer Saturday a few years back, and I sat, where they do the show, and I sat for the entire show, literally just behind the camera. It was a great experience. Met them all beforehand, like watching the whole show unfold. Jeff Stelling he's tiny. He's honestly, he's tiny.
Really? How tall is he?
Yeah, 5'6", maybe.
Really?
small, man. He's small. I
You know
respect
what?
him.
Some of the best always are, mate. Like it's weird, isn't it? Like you think about like, I mean, actors generally are a lot smaller than you give them credit for as well. Like, I think I don't know what it is. I don't know what it is, but that's surprising. I never would have thought it would have been
I'll
so
tell you
tiny.
a funny story actually. While we're there, so when I went there,
Unbelievable, Sean. Unbelievable. Sorry,
I'll
Johnny.
tell you a funny story. So beforehand, I met Matt Letitia, Paul Merson. Trying to think who the others were. Anyway, so I'm talking to Paul Merson. We talk about gay. He goes, "No," he says, "I used to gamble. I don't gamble anymore." Blah blah blah. He's giving me this whole lecture, right? Anyway, and so Letitia comes up and he goes, "Paul, do you want to send me in your money for this week's bet?" Well, what bet's that, Paul? And he goes, because they have like a
syndicate sort of thing.
Yeah, the syndicate thing. Yeah, so I just was like pissing myself laughing at that point. But no, it was a fantastic experience to sit there and watch the professionalism of how Jeff
Stelling is insane. The way he can handle.
He was so brilliant, mate. From one to the other, going to each of the scores. But yeah, so. We go off topic there, but yeah, Jeff Stelling was the face of Saturday football.
Mate, and I like his takes on football. I never really felt that he was ever much of a Tottenham fan. He used to like mock us a little bit for being Spursy or whatever. But he said that Tottenham, for him, he thought that Tottenham were the winners of the transfer window. Do you know what, Johnny? Like, I think when I spoke on Spurs 5 on Monday, and I think I did it on my own show as well, when the news broke around Kolo Muani, I've been feeling like crap, obviously, since the game. And I think that might have infected my sort of mindset a little bit. But the only obviously, if we signed Kolo Muani and we hadn't lost Solanke to injury and that Muani was going to get played in a different position, or if we signed, if we signed a Lookman and Muani, then I would have been over the moon. And I think that sometimes, like, you're always looking for reasons to say well, it's incomplete, but you're never going to have a complete window. There's always going to be something that you can do more. There's never going to be a 10 out of 10 window. And so when I see people like describing it, and this is why I was calling people out on the Spurs 5 on Monday, Johnny, I feel like people were saying, oh, it's an 8 out of 10, which is the best window we've ever had. And then it was like, oh, here's the but bit, because they don't want to give the credit to the owner. They don't want to give the credit to the club. And I was probably getting sucked into it because I've been feeling like shit. But actually, Kolo Muani, well, listen, I still maintain that Kolo Muani, when he's on, he is unplayable. He's unplayable when he's on. But even Jeff Stelling said exactly the same thoughts as what I had when he gave his take. He said that Muani, when he has got moments of absolute insanity in him, like, he's brilliant, but he can also go missing in games. If you can get the best version out of him, then he's far better than Solanke, he's far better than Richarlison. And if you have to put him out on the left, or if you put Richarlison out on the left or whatever, either way, we've got options out there. And of course, yes, we are vulnerable to one injury at the back, like we've spoken about ad nauseum. But then so are Liverpool, so are other teams as well.
Well,
and I think that you have to remember that some of our players are going to be back from injury pretty soon. So, like, if Kota is back in the next few weeks, if Dragusin's back in the next few weeks, it looks a lot prettier at the back line. You just got to avoid any danger in the next couple of weeks, Johnny, right?
Yeah, I mean, look, some people are making comments in the chat there that the 121.5 million isn't entirely correct. But these are the numbers. Look, there's a few charts out there. We're not trying to manipulate them. We're just putting them out there. So if it's a few million out, it's pretty accurate, give or take a signing.
Net spend itself is irrelevant, right? Because I think that Tottenham were trying to spend more money, and the loan deals, whether they become permanent or otherwise, I've maintained this for ages, Johnny. I think that loan deals should always be the way that you go about your first. If you can.
Yeah, but look, I mean, Arsenal have loaned Hincapié because they can't afford. I mean, look, you've seen there they spent 225 million net spend. There was no way they could manipulate the numbers to allow that purchase. I mean, Arsenal, who have traditionally been very good at selling players, only managed to sell £16.7 million worth of players, which is incredible when you think of some of the talent they've got sat there. So, Chelsea and Liverpool are hands down winners of the summer sell window. And we know how Chelsea are doing that.
Yeah, we've got to talk about that. We've got to talk about that in a minute as well.
Show, yeah, but listen, for me, Sunderland, Liverpool, a fantastic window, but it's gone from an A+ to me to a B- because I really do believe that they could be in serious trouble if they get that injury. Sunderland, now 14 signings for Sunderland, unbelievable window. I think Granit Xhaka was their number one signing, in my opinion, the glue that binds all those signings together. But for me, let's hope there's not a repeat of Fulham when they came up and spent £100 million and went all the way back down. I think Sunderland now really want to challenge Newcastle, not challenge them, but be up there and be the other club up in that area that's challenging. For me, I think Arsenal had a terrific window. As much as it pains me to say, I think Arsenal's window is above Sunderland's because they have covered every position. They've got Mascara, they've got Hincapié, they've got Zubamendi, they've got Noni, they've got Eze, they've got Gyökeres. I think they had most probably one of the best windows, if not the best window overall. Liverpool would be hands down winners.
Just quickly on the Sunderland thing, it's not just the fact that they brought in some like Granit Xhakas and that, but some of these players, mate, are like, Habib Diarra is, supposed to be one of the kind of 6/8s that I mean, I've seen him on lists for the last 2 years. His name's been on like one of these future wonder kid things. So like, be interesting to see if he develops into that player. We know that Adingra from Brighton. We know he was always very good when he came in for Brighton. Enzo Lefebvre, wasn't too familiar with him from Rome. I don't really remember him that much, but Brian Bobby, we were linked with. Tottenham were linked with him. Like Brian Bobby's is another from Ajax, right? It's another player that he's 23 years old, mate. If he looks about 43, by the way, but if he turns out to be a player that,
your passport, please.
Yeah,
he used to be all that.
Chemsteen Talby at Bruges. This guy was so influential in Bruges' European campaign last year. I remember he scored 2 goals away. I think it was against Napoli or against I forget where it was in Italy. Absolutely sensational. I mean, Bruges developed such an amazing group. I think Sunderland have quietly put themselves. If they can stay up here, Johnny, if they can stay up, if they can get to 40 points and stay up, and then go again, they could be the latest incarnation of Nottingham Forest.
Can I just ask a question? And the top one there, Naby Diarra, right? The Naby Diarra, there he is.
Habib Diarra.
Was that a blue coat signing from Strasbourg?
Yeah, he didn't come through Chelsea, as far as I'm aware. He was just a
genuine Strasbourg player. Let me tell you something.
I think so. I don't remember him ever being a part of Chelsea's academy.
Just quickly scooting off to the side here, right? Can you see a scenario there where Chelsea try to pull the plug on Strasbourg finishing in the Champions League places? They'll be quite happy for them to win the Conference League, which they could easily win the Conference League. I think they're going to be Crystal Palace and Fiorentina's main competitors. I think Strasbourg would be the strongest. They'll be very happy for them to go and win that competition and go into the Europa League. But can you imagine that team is so strong at Strasbourg that they definitely won't want them going into the Champions League positions because they will have a. How are you going to separate the fact that all of those Chelsea players that just because it's blue coat that they're separate?
Oh, they can't. There's absolutely no chance. There's absolutely no chance. Let's have a look at the. Ligue 1 as it stands. Do you know off the top of your head how many teams from Ligue 1 qualify by right? Or do obviously the champions will get in there, PSG will get in there, but do Lyon have to qualify? Do they generally have to go through like a qualification? I don't know. I think they must get at least 2 spots in the Champions League, right?
I think they get 3 guaranteed.
3 guaranteed. Oh, there you go. It's the blue things, 3, and then 1 for the Europa League, and then okay, so then Strasbourg are currently 6th with 2 wins. Yeah,
okay, guys, we need you to pull back. You can play well, but we don't want you lose the last game because we don't want you can be in the Europa League. I'm telling you, right? If I was a Strasbourg
fans are not happy though, mate. I've read loads of places. Well, French. I'm not trying to like make an assumption here or a broad sweeping statement in this no woke channel, but I'm happy to do it anyway. Hope it doesn't piss anybody off. But like the French fans generally, there's a history of them not wanting to be second fiddle in any kind of MCO to an English club that takes precedent. You know, like look what happened with Bill Foley's. Bill Foley owns Bournemouth. He owns a multi-club ownership that was supposed to include Lorient, but Lorient went mental. Their fans, their ultras, nearly tore down that stadium when they thought they were going to play second fiddle pecking order politics towards Bournemouth. So like, there's just that kind of general. First of all, French people love a protest. They absolutely love a protest. The French, and second of all, they just have maybe a resentment towards the English generally. I'm not sure if that's unreasonable to say.
There either. Let's be honest. There's plenty.
Not anymore. We're learning. We're learning from the.
We're not allowed to protest here. That's there's none of that. But listen, I'm just saying here.
They will lose games on purpose. Yeah, it's fucked. It's fucked.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. They can't afford because they have a serious issue.
They would just qualify and then they would just get demoted, right? They would qualify and then get demoted anyway. So they probably still want them to win, but just look, sorry, if you come second, we're in the champ, and assuming Chelsea will be in the Champions League, which I think they will.
How will you feel like that as a Strasbourg fan?
The same way probably Crystal Palace fans feel right now.
Yeah, or worse, probably worse, because I mean, we saw Marinakis remove himself from the register as owner of Nottingham Forest because he thought they were going to qualify for the Champions League, and there would be a conflict of interest with Olympiacos. Listen, it's not good. It's not a good look. It's not a good look. We got one super chat here from Dean Law.
Oh, Dino. Do you know?
One.
Big up to you, Deanie. Always here with the super sticker train. It has commenced. It's early. We're leaving the station early today. Choo-choo to you. The super sticker train has commenced. Right, Dean, always good to see you, mate. Always here. It's like you're like your notifications are on point, my man. Because it doesn't matter where we are, what time we're going. I could go live at 3:00 in the morning, and I would be amazed if there wasn't a Dean Law loyalty bonus being thrown in there, mate. You're absolute legend, Dean. Appreciate you, mate, and I hope you're all happy and healthy wherever you are in the game, my man. Wherever you are in this game of life. Thank you very much indeed. Johnny, let's just sort of get back to the
chart.
The chart again. Sorry, I took us off pivot there for a second.
That was me. I went off piste.
That's all right. We like going a bit off piste. Sometimes we get stuck in the snow, but sometimes you have the best ride ever. Let's talk about. Let me get rid of some of these things here. Let's talk a little bit about this grades, mate. Obviously, this is just transfer markets grades. They're saying that Wolves' window, West Ham's window, and Brentford's window were the worst. Who actually signed the least amount of players? According to official signings, the least was Manchester United. Oh no, sorry, Palace and Fulham. My bad.
Yeah, Fulham looked like they weren't going to sign anyone until the death. But I think Crystal Palace have got issues. Obviously, with Textor going, the new owner. We haven't heard anything from the new owner. Do you think that's kind of strange?
Who is it? Scott, what's his name? Woody Johnson.
Woody Johnson from the New York Jets, isn't it? Was it?
Yeah, I don't know. Yeah, New York Jets owner. Yeah, I don't know too much about him. If there's any American, I mean, it's too early. Well, it's probably far too early for any Americans to be in the house. But if you
when you come on after, when you read this afterwards, you guys, we got great support out in the States. Please let us know your thoughts on
what sort of owner is Woody Johnson? Is he someone that keeps himself to himself, or is he just bedding himself in, or has he just sort of like taken the same role as what John Textor was forced to basically take on, which was, you put in the money in, but you don't get a word in. You don't get any kind of influence at all in the decision making of the football club, because if you're parish, mate, is it unreasonable to sit there and say, look, I can't afford to buy the entirety of the club, or I don't want to buy the entirety of the club, but I want the entirety of the power maker role?
Well, is it a power grab or is he going to do so? I mean, I would say that the New York Jets with the NFL season starting coming up this weekend, and I did my NFL draft last night. Unfortunately, I was falling asleep when I was doing it. I was you do the live draft. My son was organising that last night. I got a C- for my draft. My draft was terrible. But anyone in here interested in the NFL? If they are, we could always have a section. I'll get my son in to do the NFL section once a week for
start a 15th channel, Johnny. Let's start a 15th channel, mate.
We could do another channel, but I think Woody Johnson's probably busy with the New York Jets this week. But I expect, with the amount of percentage that he holds in Crystal Palace, to hear him come forward. But I think, considering they're in Europe, considering they won the FA Cup and they had a good season and they got a manager as good as Oliver Glasner, that they had a net spend of £9 million profit and didn't really do a lot of business, which for me is a bit of a surprise. I thought that they would go a bit stronger. Is that because they got no real leadership right now?
Yeah. I mean, sorry, my throat's killing me. I just find it. I find it odd, mate. I feel like you have to have. If I'm investing in a business and I'm putting in 40% of the club's money, what was it? 390 million or 290 million? What was the money you paid? I forget now.
190 million. I think it was 190 million.
190 million quid. You'd think that with that would come, more than just a seat on the board that could be outvoted on everything. And surely John Textor, everything that was said, everything that John Textor said after the fact, Woody Johnson would have to have a hell of a lot of faith in Steve Parish. And thus far, since that transaction has taken place, I'm not sure that Parish has done right by anybody.
Well, no, I mean, you saw the Textor comments that I want to win things, but Steve Parish wants to avoid relegation. That was the allegation made by John Textor, that Palace have no ambition at all other than survival in the Premier League and ticking over. We've had no sort of fight back from that. So, guys, I mean, if there are any Palace fans in here, then please come back and tell us
where the Palace are currently. Let's have a look at this. Let me get up the once again. Let me get rid of the.
Reese, we've seen that they've missed one off of that list. There's about 3 different net spend lists out there. I think this one has got the Spurs net spend wrong. Let's see.
I wasn't really using the net spend. I was using it more for the gradients, really.
Yeah.
Because I feel like the last few days, as I said a minute ago, I feel like I'm always accused of being someone that defends the club, and I walked away from the window feeling a little bit unfulfilled, Johnny. I felt like when you look at it, we signed 4 monsters, but if we'd beaten Bournemouth and we were 9 out of 9. Or if Solanke hadn't gone down injured, I'd be sitting there thinking, okay, this is really good. But Kolo Muani versus, I mean, I even prioritized an Ademola Lookman above Savinho, right? That's how much I rate Ademola Lookman for his skill set, his style, and Savinho obviously love him, and Kolo Muani is more of a striker. But that doesn't mean I don't like the player. It was just that the thing is that there was no option. And the lack of the option suggested to me that the player didn't want to be here. And I still haven't seen any clarification on why there was no option included in it. And so, no news sometimes is bad news in that regard. In that the reason why there's no clarification is because there's no way to spin the story. And so, if you believe like I do that the player is best when he's motivated, and motivation starts with happiness, then that's the reason why I sort of took it the way I did. But when you think about it, really, Colin Mawani on his best day is far better than basically anybody else in that forward line, apart from the two other guys we've already signed, which is Kudus and Xavi Simons. I can't wait for
both. Should have had both, Sean. In my opinion, we should have had Lookman and Mawani, and we would have had even a left centre back on loan. I think this would have been a monster window. For me, I'm a big fan of Mawani, but you know, if you look at it, like I look at it two ways. If you'd have said to me, we're going to sign Cuti Romero on a new contract, he's going to be our captain, Spence on a new contract, Paulinho, Mawani, Simmons, Kudos, right? I would have said you're nuts,
amazing.
right? Amazing, right? So, you know, we have to look at it from that point. Uphill Garden, I just saw you in the chat. If you could, message Sean and let him
email me, mate. Email me at seanbutlertv@gmail.com. You won a shirt, mate. I don't know if you know, you won a shirt the other day on Friday night. You won a shirt. All you got to do is go to okjersey.com, pick the shirt you want. Doesn't have to be Tottenham. Pick whichever name and number you want on the back. Pick whichever size you need. Remember the sizing issues with those sorts of websites. So go 2 sizes bigger if you're in Europe. And then just email me and tell me, you know, your name, your address. Show me your kind of link to Uphill Gardener, the actual, just so I can verify you and not that you're someone else. And I'll get the guys at OK Jersey to post you the shirt.
We'll be giving more away throughout the month. So, but look. I think we're looking at this. I think Everton had a superb window. I always thought that Jack Grealish was a player that I would love to sign on loan, not as a permanent, because I don't think that he could show that commitment for 4 or 5 years. I think he had a massive point to prove to everybody to get back into the England reckoning. And what we in 3 games, was it 3 assists already?
He's done well. He looks super motivated. Right. I feel like a bit of a donut because I was one of the people that said I don't really feel like he's. I think we both were, to be honest, Johnny. I think we were both saying
loan. I said I think he's a great loan signing, but I would never sign him on a permanent because I just don't think you could. He could do it. I mean, Marmol, we have talked about Alexander Isak. We have spoken about him. We've spoken about the fact that should players like Alexander Isak and Visser and Gyökeres be rewarded for going on strike and refusing to play for their clubs? We think it's wrong, and players like Mark Gahey, who have acted honourably, get the rug pulled from under their feet when they get the dream move to Liverpool. Now they've got a player who's pissed off. They're going to pull him back into the fold. I'd like to see how they get around that one, because I'm sure every single reporter is now, when they come back from international duty, is going to be sticking that microphone in Mark Gay's gob and saying, how do you feel? Right? Yeah. How do you feel? Right? Well, I'm going to walk away for nothing. I'll sign a pre-contract. You can sign a pre-contract with Real Madrid or Barcelona. And I think it's Liverpool that are the big losers out of all this, and Arsenal who are the big winners, because Liverpool's defence ain't good enough. But
on this early season form, mate, we're 3 games in. As the first 3 games, what we'll have to do a show at some point during, because the international, we've got 2 weeks, right? The international, or 10 days. Loads to talk about, but we'll have to find time one of the days this week or next when you're back around, like, Premier League predictions overall. I don't think we actually did it earlier on in the summer, but like we should do it now because I think the first 3 games have sort of shown me a couple of things. Like I genuinely think that Aston Villa are going to struggle. I think that Bournemouth are going to be better than I probably thought they would be. Bournemouth were just so, if they can keep Semenyo fit, that guy is just terrifying. He's absolutely terrifying. We had absolutely no answer to hit to one player on that team.
And who was the best player? Do you know who was the interesting that? Because although Semenya got all the headlines, the best player on the pitch by far was Brooks.
Danny Brooks, yeah. He was very good.
He was unbelievable. The passing, the shots. I mean,
Yeah, but I think that's a consequence of the fact that we were terrified of Semenyo, so we were trying to double up on him, and it just creates space, which is why I've always talked about the idea of that's why you needed a Lookman. That's why you needed someone better than what we had on the left, because if you have the guy in the 6 who can switch the play, or the 8 in the switch, and then you can terrorize both channels with equal measure, then the fullbacks are going to look for help, look for support. The fullbacks are going to ask for either, I'm good, I'll take them on, and then they'll get beaten, or they'll ask for support from their 6 or from the closest centre back to come across. And when that happens, that's why you needed a 10 who can then put the ball across to the other side, because there'll be space in. And so, I think the reason why Brooks was so good was because we were so terrified of Semenyo.
I just think Brooks he's such an underrated player. And if you see him, some of the skill set and some of those efforts on goal, he hit the bar. He was absolutely superb. It seemed like Semenyo got all the plaudits here. One bit of news that Noel, if you're new on the channel, Sean and I have our second teams who we've been drawn to follow in various leagues. And I've been drawn Cremonese. So Noel's come out with his great fact of the day for Cremonese. Romano Firiani is the great-grandson of Benito Mussolini. That is, I don't know where you got that from, but that's the sort of stuff we love. We love to be educated by you guys as well. This is a chat. We get stuff wrong. We look for guidance from some of you guys to come in
100%.
and some questions at us. To trigger debate. That's what we're here to debate, talk about all the topics.
You guys are as much of the show as we are, to be honest. We need your help a lot of the time. So that's superb. A couple more super chats there, Johnny. Daniel Field has come back in with another super sticker. Big up to you, Daniel Field. Always a pleasure to see you, mate. What's that, Johnny?
Clapham Junction.
Daniel Field, the Clapham Junction, the Woking Terminal. And he's putting another one. All right, Gaylords. You've been watching me. You were watching on Saturday night.
Yeah, Danny Kelly was. Thanks, Noel. I love Danny Kelly. There is other podcasts, but always stay here. But View from the Lane is always an interesting one with Danny Kelly. Was it Transworld Sports, isn't it? Transworld Soccer, I think he does, where he goes to sweep around Europe.
That name has taken a whole new connotation in the last 2 or 3 years, isn't it?
Yeah, it has.
Yeah. It's just following around undeserved gold medals for people that don't belong in certain competitions.
I mean, guys,
we're getting cancelled. We don't care. This audience is no woke too. This audience is no woke
too. Guys, I mean, we'd just like to thank all of you guys for all the support. Incredible that we got 5,000 subscribers here and over 50 members in 3 months. It's quite incredible, and we really appreciate your support. Spread the word. Get more people on board. And what I noticed was that basically 56% of the people that come here, Sean, last month were new, but don't subscribe to the show. It doesn't hurt when you press the subscribe button, guys. It really doesn't.
It might be because people are watching it on TV and stuff, mate. It might be just be awkward.
That's true. That's true. Some of us. Oh, can you imagine watching us on a large screen, Sean? It's hard enough.
On Spurs Talk Show, I've had people message me with pictures of their living room, sending me a photo of their TV, and these people got amazing rooms, amazingly lit rooms and stuff. And there's a picture of me with Bugsy Malone throwing a ball, going saying something nice and positive. I'm like, Jesus Christ, why would you want to watch me on 40 inches? The only thing 40 inches about me is my waistline.
Yeah, can you imagine their dogs tune in?
Yeah.
We talk a lot about Sam. We talk a lot about Man United. Sam, come on, Sam. We talk a lot about Man United. Are you Sonny Lemons? Are you happy with Sonny Lemons?
Oh, mate, have you seen that? Have you seen that thing knocking around about Sonny Lemons? Have you seen that montage? He looks like he's he's Onana on steroids. He looks like an absolute bozo as well. We're going to find out, though. We're going to find out.
Sonny Lemons. I honestly thought you were going to buy Martinez. I thought Martinez thought you were going to buy Martinez. Onana, I mean, is another one that we said right from the off, right from 3 months ago, that Man United, forget about buying Brian and Mbeumo, Matetes, Cunha, great signings, but unless you sign another centre-back and a goalkeeper, you're going to pay the price, just like Liverpool will be for not addressing the issue. And just like Spurs will do if we didn't buy a left centre-back if something happens to Mickey van der Ven. But you bought Sonny Lemons. He can't be, surely can't be worse than Onana. Really?
Well,
or can he?
I don't know. To be honest, I haven't seen him play. I've just seen his montage, but his montage.
You really think so? Sam in the chat is saying that Martinez had more errors than Onana last season. What I know is, Sam, that Martinez has been voted best goalkeeper in the world on at least 2 occasions. Onana hasn't even been voted the best goalkeeper in France. In fact, his biggest claim to fame was being suspended for drug use. So
Manchester United, mate. But listen, like they snuck past Burnley.
I mean, honestly, mate,
you 97th minute pen. I haven't actually seen the highlights of it. I don't know. Was the pen legit?
Listen. Look, he. What's his name? Adam. I keep forgetting his name now. I've had a mental block. The young winger.
Who's winger?
Man United's winger. He got pulled down. But he did dive into the box. He did look like he was pulled.
Yeah, fair enough. I literally haven't seen it. I'll watch it.
Listen. They got out of the mud. Man United have got away with murder this season. That double hand push by Yeremina on Shirley Bassey pushed him double-handed in the back, rose up and headed the ball in. Was a absolute blatant free kick, and they got away with one. And they got away with one today. And the celebration by Bruno Fernandes was
do you think Manchester United have got, like, they got no European football, mate? They spent how much they spent this summer? Let's get the thing up again just quickly, because I think they're going to be this year's banter club. I really do. They spent 153, according to this, 153 million net, 215 million pounds. They've improved their forward line. As far as I can tell, their forward line are not exactly pulling up any sticks.
Lenny Yoro, sorry about Lenny Yoro, sorry.
Yeah, I mean, Brian and Mbeumo started okay, right? He started okay.
Listen, look, I
worry about them, mate. I sit there and think that Man United are just so easy to break down. Like, until they get rid of that donut in charge. But then, like, do you think that
he couldn't watch the penalties, could he? Yeah,
it's so embarrassing, mate. 18 minutes of looking at the floor. 18 minutes. 20 minutes you're staring at the floor. Like, at what point are you going, I look stupid now? I look really stupid. Like, you can understand it from, like, I'm not going to watch one penalty, but like 35 of the fuckers. I mean, what are we doing here? Bro, you're the boss. You're the manager. And by the way, there's things that you can learn. Unless it's some weird superstition, and even then it's a little bit odd. But, like, I get superstition. Superstitious people will always say, like, you haven't got to understand me, but it works for me. So I'm not going to, fine. But if it's just I can't watch, you're missing out on valuable insights of your team and your goalkeeper in how they approach under pressure, big moments. But, and again, like, the average penalty shootout takes about 7 minutes, 8 minutes, right? 18 minutes, Johnny. He's looking at a mark on the floor of the dugout.
Those memes were fantastic. Of all of it, him rolling sushi. The best one for me was brushing the hair of the guy who said, "I won't cut my hair until Manchester United win 5 games on the trot." Listen, for me, right now, if he was to go, I think a defeat or a draw against Burnley would have maybe potentially signalled the end.
But have they got the money? They must have the money, or they must have drawn down some sort of financial thing.
Oh, well, whatever they've done, for me, Iriola or Oliver Glasner.
Glasner's the obvious one, isn't he?
Glasner or Iriola. We've seen what Oliver Glasner's done at Crystal Palace. I mean, Mateta couldn't hit a barn door, right? And look what he's done. Ismail Sarr, right, who really struggled to find his career. Look what he's done. Muniz. I mean, all of those players. Lacroix he brought in from Wolfsburg. He's done a fantastic job. But yeah, it's great value. It's great value. What would we do? Amarin right now is, every week, everyone's forget the football. Let's show us Amarin can. That's what we're going to have. Amarin can until he goes. Will he get his...
I don't want him to go, mate. I don't want Arteta to go, and I don't want Onana to go. I don't want Amarim to go. I think both of them are brilliant for banter. I don't think that Arsenal have got it in them. I think that Arsenal are... The way that they set up against Liverpool was embarrassing. 4 centre-backs and 3 DMs on the pitch. What are we doing here? It's the third game of the season, Johnny. It's the third game of the season. I understand if you've got a lead and you don't want to give away, like we'll play for a draw, but it's the third game of the season. I mean, come on. Geezer thinks that he's so smart. He thinks that he's smarter than everybody else by what he does. And then that's why when things don't work out, he has to pivot to an excuse or two. Because if you're caught in this mindset that everything I do that's weird is actually, I'm just creative, innovative, and you don't get it because you're not on my page, you're not on my wavelength. I'm orchestrating my behavior on a higher ecosystem. Like, cool. That's fine. If you want to pretend that shit and you want everyone else to believe it, you got to deliver. And then when the deliveries don't come, excuses. The ball, the grass, the pitch, the referee, all that bollocks. But mate, I can't. He's going to fail this season again because he doesn't have the stones to go toe to toe with teams that are, in his mind, hit their equal or better. He doesn't have the stones to do it, which puts you out. You have to get incredibly lucky then to do anything in any cup.
I've got to be honest.
At some point in a cup, Johnny, you're going to get a tough team away, and if you think the best way to do it is to fight for a draw, you can't do that in cup competitions because the replays don't happen anymore, right? So I think the guy thinks he is on a different level, and he is on a different level, and his level's lower.
I've got to be honest. I think forget Man United and the celebration beating Burnley. The quote of the weekend definitely goes to the Arsenal goalkeeper, because Raya, instead of putting his hands up and saying that was an unbelievable goal, to say we're not quite used to this new Puma ball is a disgrace, right? It's an.
What you should have said was,
what could you even say? They blame the grass. They've now blamed the football.
Not for the first time. They blamed the ball last season as well, by the way.
Yeah, I mean, listen.
They blamed the ball last season, but Johnny, like Szoboszlai came out in the post-match interview and said, "I studied Raya's free kick stance." Right, Michael Owen, the most boring of all boring commentators, he at least had some insight and said, "You know what?
No wall.
When you're beyond 30 yards, the wall is a hindrance because Raya has to sort of do his little shuffle across the goal line. And if you've got a smart player that does their homework, just like Pickford is very good at saving penalties, not because he's a better penalty saver for any other reason than he studies, do your homework and good things happen. You can't wing an exam, right? You can't wing an exam. You have to, if you want to pass your A levels, you have to study, right? You can't wing. You can wing certain things in life, but you can't wing an exam. If you study for things in life, you're generally going to have better outcomes. Rule 1, kids, if you're listening, don't think you can wing exams if your exams are important to you. But the reality is, mate, that Pickford's very good at saving penalties because he understands where the most likely probable outcomes are going to happen. Szoboszlai studied Raya. And Raya was like 7 foot towards the 4 foot that side.
Right? If the wall wasn't there, look, Michael Owen was absolutely spot on. If that wall was not there, 100%, he could have walked across and patted it down with 2 hands. He could have actually caught the ball if there wasn't the wall there. because he would have been able to see it clear as a bell.
And you know what Michael Owen said, which was in addition to that? He goes, if every single Arsenal player walks away from that, within 3 seconds, every single Liverpool player creates their own wall, which shows you that the wall is a hindrance. And I think he's absolutely, it's the first thing, not the first thing, but like he's a boring commentator. He's not interesting to listen to, but he does know what he's talking about with those sorts of things. Outside of 30 yards, the wall is a hindrance. And rather than blaming the ball, listen to the guy who said, yeah, I studied Raya. I know that's what he does. It still takes a perfect shot, by the way. It still takes that perfection of a hit. But let's not sort of beat around the bush here. Arsenal were beaten by the one thing that they tried to beat everybody else by away from home, which is free kicks and set pieces.
That's the thing. They listen, they are Stoke City. They have spent 275 million or whatever their next spend was. And they're playing like Stoke City, looking to win on the set pieces over and over and over again. And then they get done on set piece and complain that isn't football. You were holding out for a draw. It was only when Eze came on, and let's be honest, I think Eze should have started. And Eze had that one moment. He came on, he beat a whole load of players, and I thought they were going to get a penalty from it because he put his arm on him to bring him down. But listen, I think listen, Sam, you need to calm down in the chat, okay? This is a chat. We're talking about every club, okay? We talk about Spurs mistakes. We're talking about Man United's mistakes. We're now talking about Arsenal. We've spoken about Chelsea. We've spoken about Crystal Palace. This is all clubs.
He's salty because he had his moderator tag taken away from him.
Oh, right. Okay.
He was an early mod on the channel.
Correct.
And then everyone reached out saying Sam's he's a donut.
Sam.
And I said I haven't seen any donut behaviour, so like I'll leave it alone. And then Sam, I got sent a barrage of screenshots of Sam's behaviour. So I went, okay, I'll just remove the mod thing. And now he's doing this.
Graham has said to us that Lego Head said it wasn't even a free kick. They're clutching any straw that they can. They lost. Get over it. That's all I can say. Sean, should we leave some of the other stuff for tomorrow? We got loads.
Yeah. We got a long 10 days before the Premier League begins. What we are going to do tomorrow, though, we are going to go through the predictions because we have those to go through. Got all the results, and there might be a new leader in the predictions. By the way, just quietly. So we're going to be talking about that. And looking forward, well, there definitely is a new leader because Jonny and I currently, as it stands, are on level points, and the chat is about 4 points behind. But there's some interesting things that have materialised. So we'll get back to that tomorrow. Last little super chat, I think, from Henry Thong TV. Big up to you, mate. He said, "What player should my mate get on his Juve shirt?" What player should your mate get on his Juve shirt? If I was him, I would get
only one, really, isn't there?
Go on.
The Turkish boy.
What, Yildiz?
Yeah. No. Do you think?
You have signed some good players this summer. I would get Kefren Turam. I'd get Kefren Turam. I think he's the best player that the event.
For me, it'd be Yildiz. Henry Thong, where are you? Are you in Hong Kong?
Yeah, get Mawani is a joke. Yeah,
yeah, get Mawani. You get back.
If you are going to get the shirt, if you are going to get that shirt, your mate Henry Thong, get it from okjersey.com. Get that QR code, scan it. When you get £15 shirts, pick your name, your number, all that shit, and then also just put in the word FINC at your discount code, and you will get an 8% discount on what is already an unbelievable value. Same goes for all of you guys. Please do support okjersey.com. Listen, we all know the other companies that are in that part of the world that are trying to smash it.
Says my shirts arrived fairly quickly. Really good quality. I'm really pleased. Good to hear it, Wacker Coys.
Wow,
that is quick.
That's quick. That's like we only put the first one out on Friday, didn't we? Was it a Thursday or Friday?
Oh, last week. But listen,
appreciate you, Wacker Coys. Appreciate you, Wacker Coys. Yeah, go get yourself something nice. Treat you like the kids coming up, Christmas time. You know what I'm doing? I've got like I haven't got any kids, but my brother's got like half a football team's worth, and they all love football, even the girls. So I will be I'll be sending out cheap as you like.
They don't deliver to Australia. Is that true? Maybe you can find out, Sean.
I'll ask them.
Because we obviously have quite a few from Australia, America, and also all sorts. Maybe there's tariffs. Better check on the tariff situation.
We're going to tariff them.
Sorry, I ordered mine with Sava's discount.
Oh yeah, that's fine. Yes. Sava's got the same. Sava's got the same sponsor. So as long as you know that they're as long as they're great quality, mate. Apparently they're the best quality. They're better than the other competition, and that's why they're sponsoring everybody, because they're trying to compete with that. You know who they're trying to compete with, and they promised me that they are the best of the kind of that world, and so important to promote, and we appreciate them very much.
The difference is this channel is about all different clubs. So for us, for okjersey.com is great because, as I said, we've got fans here from all sorts of players. NZ, Giovanni Leone is better than Quansah. That I have no doubt whatsoever. He's been called up to the Italian squad. That isn't the problem. We know that he's going to be a top player. The worry is obviously being so young and coming into the Premier League, it's not easy just to parachute in and perform from the off. But we know the quality of Italian defending football. But okay, guys, I think that's to wrap it up. Remember to hit the subscribe and hit the like button on your way out. And if you're listening on audio, please hit a follow on the channel and give us that 5-star review. Sean, it's been a pleasure as always here out in Corfu. It's goodbye from me.
And it's goodbye from this guy. He's in Corfu. I've got cold and flu. We'll see you tomorrow. Like, subscribe, and comment. And as always, guys, bye-bye.